So I can actually see the bruising coming into my toe this morning on the side, showing its color. But the most restriction I feel when I'm walking is, I mentioned this last night, the constriction in the back of my calf. So again, I did the hips and knees, but it's really well worked in there. So incorporating self-massage and things like that to try and work through it. And I have to do that again after my work shift this morning. But definitely feeling good about where my body's at, given the injury. Able to comfortably do down dog, so I incorporated some sun salutations, and that's always an interesting thing when you're healing from an injury. And I talk about this when I would teach, and I talk about this with my guests at work. Honoring your limits, not pushing yourself to the point of discomfort. If you're in terms of eating, we don't do ourselves any real service when we push ourselves to the point where we are uncomfortable. Same thing in any asana. I was reflecting on that as I was doing my twist this morning. So we'll relate that in right now. Let's see, which way should I go? I'll go this way. Ardha Matsyendrasana 3. When I first started doing yoga, let's see, how many years ago was that now? Something like 6 years, something like that. Just sitting like this definitely did not work. I needed props under the pelvis, and sat kind of like this, get the little hump in the back here. Now we've learned to straighten it out, so the whole self-correction is something that comes. And then it would come time to twist. Actually, go this way. We have all kinds of different stages for going into this twist. And wrap the arm around the knee and hold there, and you twist as far as you can. And that's what was comfortable. You get a hand back here, help provide a little lift for the low back. And then maybe you can start to get the elbow on the other side of the thigh. And then you start to get tension that can creep into the shoulder here. So learning to relax the shoulder as you're in the twist. And then comfortably looking over as possible, learning to inhale, release the twist, exhale, twist deeper. So then you're able to use this arm a little more like a lever to twist a little deeper. But eventually, especially through working with back bends and all kinds of asana to support a meditative posture, to be able to hold the spine erect, and to get yourself a little more upright so you don't need that support. And I can get a bind by going around this way, but it's uncomfortable on my bicep. I know that's the way Sandy Anderson teaches. She said that's how you do a bind. But I'm quite uncomfortable in that position, so I don't do that. I come through the leg, and I just lift up here. I'm going to turn a little bit farther this way. So I'll be turning around, looking right at you. So, really most of my areas of self-correction in this posture are two that I just mentioned. Relaxing the shoulder, which comes from a lengthening of the spine. When you start to collapse in the low back, the shoulder wants to hike up, and you get the trapezius pulling the shoulder up towards the neck. But so just releasing, placing a hand there, I find it's not so hard to coax myself right into where I want to be. And then just bring the hand back around and establish a smooth, even, relaxed breath. Letting the head turn around a little farther. Continuing to lengthen up through the crown on the inhale. And then sometimes I'll close my eyes and turn my eyes towards the corners of my eyes. So my left eye will look towards the inner corner. My right eye will look towards the outer corner to create sort of an energetic extension of the twist. Feel it coming up from the base of the pelvis, spiraling around the spine, around, and then this movement with the eyes just carries it up and beyond. And then turning the head back the other way, because with the arm in the bind, you hold that collarbone down. And when you gently lift the chin towards the nose, tip the ear towards the shoulder, you can stretch into the sternocleidomastoid muscle of the neck. Continuing smooth, even, relaxed breathing. So just learning to continually work through refinements, that self-discerning awareness, which is that sensitivity that Pranadharana really helps hone. You know, I find more and more of that as I'm working through my practice, and especially as I was trying to wrap that in, working through a sun salutation with an injury or any asana. Bringing that mindfulness to your own body so you don't hurt yourself, because I had to do it a little bit differently, or I probably would have jammed my toe, and that would have caused an urge to release vulgarities and cursing and much discomfort. But that didn't happen. So I'm really proud of myself. I wanted to touch on, I think I mentioned it last night in my entry, about the connection between Pranadharana supporting your Agnisara and making that deeper. I mentioned, pull up my notes. It's about that seed, nurturing a seed. Because there's something, Agnisara is all about nurturing this part of your body. Creating, this fertile, vibrant, compressed, concentrated, focused, loving pranic shakti. Everything that you do in that exercise here, it's all for you. It supports this physical body. And beyond that, the effects of that support the mind. So that's where you get this feedback between the two practices. So you do the Pranadharana, you cultivate the pranic shakti. You have an intention for what you are doing with your pranapratishtha. That intention is, it's like the DNA programming of a seed. The seed is that focused field of pranic shakti that we captured in our third eye. The DNA, the structure of it, that gives it its unique characteristic, and this is actually an element of Kundalini Shakti, because it's a unique quality to each one of us and each living thing. It is that unique beauty that springs forth, that gives us our individuality, our individual expression of beauty. So in between different species, we have different aspects of DNA that make it manifest itself in a unique quality. That is your intention. The intention that gets woven into that field of pranic shakti is like the DNA of a seed. You drop that seed and you plant it into this fertile soil. Patanjali says, within Pranadharana, dharana is to hold, to retain pranic shakti. And holding it in a particular field. And then the Pranapatishtha is depositing that pranic shakti wherever you want. And our primary focus is the navel center, so moving it from the eyebrow to the navel center. So then the second part is nurturing the prana in a particular field or entity and letting it grow. And that whole letting it grow is part of the practice of non-attachment. You know, you've done the work and non-attachment and trustful surrender. You've placed it where it needs to be, and now you need to trust that it will do what it is intended to do. You put a seed in the soil and you trust that it will grow. So you have to water it, you have to nurture it. But there are other elements, other forces that are already at play that have their own conscious aspect, that go about doing what they do. The earth continues to rotate around the sun and spin on its axis. You know that the sun is going to rise and is going to provide heat and light for that seed to grow. So those are essential elements. What does a seed need? Heat, light, water, nutrients. And so to provide the nutrients for our elixir, rasa, the sap of life, this pranic shakti. Pranic shakti, it needs pranayama, asanas, bandhas, mudras, enthusiasm, courage, motivation, herbs and other nutritious food for this body. And you said light. I meant to say light, which we get from the sun. And actually, yesterday came across the practice of sun gazing. There was a study, an official article released by NASA about the validity of the practice of sun eating. And that's something I'm playing with becoming a new practice. It's actually more like a year-long practice that maybe another extension of this continued documentation. I went on that tangent and I just kind of lost the direction that I was headed. But I think you understand the elements I was saying. It was all there. I was just headed towards some nice way of encapsulating it all. But I think you got my enthusiasm is there. I'm loving this. And yeah, we're going to leave it at that. I'm going to get ready for work and be on time. Love you all. Namaste. Thank you.